Taskles, Teddy, and the others began feeding around the periphery of the camp, apparently minding their own business and concentrating on eating grass. However, Taskles surreptitiously turned the tip of her trunk towards the kitchen and the tents to smell what and who was there. Wafting from the place where the food was kept was the delicious odor of very ripe bananas. Taskles loved bananas. She had first tasted them at the lodge feeding place, where a man came twice a day with a wheelbarrow full of vegetable and fruit scraps. These were usually peels and old outer leaves of lettuce and cabbages. But one day there was a whole stalk of overripe, almost fermented bananas. Taskles liked the smell immediately, plucked one off the stalk, popped it in her mouth, and savored the sweet taste. She managed to eat most of them, sharing as few as possible with the others. From that day on, she particularly sought out bananas. On this evening the smell was irresistible. She moved closer to the kitchen, a flimsy structure made out of a few wooden posts, sisal poles, chicken wire, and roofing felt. She could smell other good things as well: pineapples, oranges, and various vegetables. She also noticed that it was unusually quiet in the camp tonight. There were no voices, and there was no strong, immediate smell of humans. She stopped feeding and rumbled gently. Tanya answered from among the palms with her unmistakable, long, rolling rumble, but stayed where she was. Teddy, Tawny, and Tilly also answered, and they walked over to join Taskles. These 4 animals, plus Taskles's 2-year-old calf, slowly approached the kitchen with their trunks held out in front of them. They got within a few feet and stopped and listened. Still there were no sounds of people. Taskles reached her trunk out and felt the outer wall of the kitchen. She wrapped her trunk around a sisal pole and pulled. There was a tearing noise as the pole was wrenched away. No one came out of the tent to chase them. The others moved forward and also started pulling on the poles and the wire. Taskles quickly made a sizable hole in one wall of the kitchen. She reached her trunk in and tried to feel for the bananas. But they were on the opposite side of the kitchen, and a table and a cupboard were in her way. She became impatient and leaned her head against the wall and pushed. The building swayed before collapsing sideways. The bananas were under the tilted-over wall and roof, but Taskles was undeterred. She went around to the other side, which was more or less intact, and started forcing her way through that wall. Once she got her head inside, she began to pull things out, push things over, open things up, and gather in as much food as she could. The bananas went first, of course, closely followed by the pineapples, oranges, mangoes, and papayas. These fruits, even large pineapples, could be placed whole in the mouth and crushed in the huge grinding molars with a great gush of juice. It was near ecstasy. The vegetables, carrots, potatoes, tomatoes, onions, lettuces, cabbages, cauliflowers, cucumbers, avocados, string beans, zucchini, eggplants went soon after. Most of the fruits and vegetables were stored in tin trunks, but this posed no problem for an elephant. The tin trunk was lifted up and turned upside down and stepped on a bit and kicked about if necessary until it disgorged its contents. Once the fresh produce was finished, Taskles began to search around for other delicacies. She could smell bread and cookies and crackers in one wooden cupboard. This was knocked down and smashed open. The bread was quickly snatched up, and then the cookies and crackers were eaten. box or plastic bag, and all. Next, a small camping fridge and a cooler were crushed, but neither contained anything interesting. Another cupboard with glasses and plates in it was tipped sideways, and broken glass joined the other wreckage on the dirt floor of the kitchen. The bigger fridge was pulled and dragged from its place until it toppled over, disconnected from its gas cylinder. Noxious propane gas hissed out of the dangling tube with a sound and smell that would certainly have sent lesser elephants away.